Building a control rig for a character, your control objects can really be just about anything you want, but it helps to create a consistent visual language for the sake of your animators. Generally, I try to keep them in some way relevant to what they're going to do. For instance, I may make a control object that controls rotation curvy and movement blocky. There are an infinite number of shapes that you could create. So I'm just going to demonstrate how to create a few that I kind of like. Delete that first. I'm going to begin by heading into Illustrator. I've already demonstrated how to bring an SVG from Illustrator to Maya, but I'll do that again here anyway. I'm going to start by creating my arrow shape. Select all those. My Pathfinder. I'll unite those into a single shape. Copy. Control C. Control F to paste on top of the original position. Just rotate that. Select them again. Unify them a second time. Now, oftentimes I use this shape to indicate one big movement control. If I place this on the bottom of my character on the ground, this indicates I can slide my model left and right and back and forth with this object. But if I want to create that curved shape before, these straight lines aren't really going to cut it. So if I go to Object, Path, that adds anchor points in between each of the previously existing anchor points. I'll do that one more time. Object, Path, add anchor points, and maybe one more time. Path, add anchor points, and now I've got something with these evenly spaced anchor points all along the way. This will allow it to curve a little bit more gently in Maya. File, I'm going to save as SVG, arrows to my data folder. Now go back to Maya. I'm going to click Create SVG. It always creates this one by default. Go to my SVG tab. Import. Go to my data folder. Here's my arrows. That's a polygon object. I want to create a curve from this. I'm going to go to Geometry and create curves from SVG. And I can delete the polygon. There it is. Modify center pivot. I'll snap this. I'll snap this with X onto the center of my scene. E for rotate, J to rotate in 15-degree increments. I think I need to do one more. Yep. There you go. Modify freeze transformations. And to curve this into that shape I showed you before, I'll go to Deform, Nonlinear Bend. rotate this so it's laying on the ground, and just double check to make sure it is rotating the correct direction. Yep. Got that lined up. Select it again. I'm going to add a second curve. Bend. I'll lay this one down next to the first one, but I'll rotate it again so it's facing the other direction. And now I've got two bends in the inputs right here. I'll set each of these curvatures to 60 degrees. And now I've got my curved arrows. Late history. And there they are. Shove that to the side. For the cube, I'll start by just creating a regular cube. Like that. Go to Create, Curve Tools, EP Curve Tool, Option Box. I need to set this to linear because otherwise it's going to create curved edges instead of straight ones. So click on Linear. And by holding down V, I can just click and add each point onto the vertex of the cube. Now, it does not matter if I overlap previously existing edges. I'm not going to see the difference. The important thing is that by the time I'm done, I've covered over every single edge. Now I can select my cube and just delete that, and I've got a box-shaped curve. I can do that with any shape, really. When I made the third one, I just went to Platonic Solid. I changed this one to an octahedron. And did the exact same thing. Create a curve. Hold down V. Select the shape and delete that. Now I've got an octahedron. Modify center pivot. I probably want to do that for each of these. Modify center pivot. The round one, the sphere-shaped one, that one's a bit different than all of these. It's a bit weird. I'll start with a circle. I will duplicate this. Control D. Control D. I select all those and freeze transformations on them. Now you might think you can just grab these and parent them, and yes, you can. And now they all move together like that. But if you grab this by one of these others, you'll grab the child instead of the parent. So there's no point parenting them if you want this to act as a single object. Instead, I'm going to do a bit of a trick that I found ages back using mel scripting. Parent-add-shape, quotation child shape, quotations parent. I need to copy this and paste it into my mel scripting. Let's copy that real quick. And to make this easier, I'm going to name these shapes. I'll name this A, B, and C. It doesn't matter what they're named. I'm just giving them something easy to work with so I don't have to remember it. And then down here under mill scripting, I'll paste in that code. And I change the word child into one of the children's shapes, like B, and the word parent into A. I have to keep the word shape in here because I'm parenting the B object's shape under the A object. I'll show you what that means in a minute. Enter. And now if I click the A object, you can see they're connected. There's still this original shape over there. And if I go to Windows Outliner, you can still see it exists. They're still in there, but A also has a curve going this way. If I go to Display and turn on Shapes, all these things that have shapes have little plus signs next to them now. If I click the A, I got A shape and B shape. The C shape and B shape still exist, but I've got a copy of the B shape inside my A shape now. So I go down here and paste again. Instead of child shape, I'll change this to capital C shape instead of parent. I'll change that to A. And if this opened up, you can see what happens when I press enter. I can just select these duplicates and delete them. And now A shape has B shape and C shape next to it under the A. And when I click on this, I'm selecting the A, which just so happens to have B and C inside of them. If I go to my opened up tab over here, my opened up plus sign, I can see the A shape, B shape, and C shape as separate things. But as long as I'm only clicking on the A, I get all three of them at the same time. As far as creating a uniform visual language goes, some people also find that it helps to add colors to these shapes. I've seen where people make all controls to the right side of an object red and all the controls to the left side of an object blue, and then have various colors to indicate different parts of the middle part of the body, like the head, neck, torso. You can select a different color for each of these by going to Attribute Editor. Go to the first tab right here. Go to Display, Drawing Overrides, and Enable Overrides. And down here, it's set to index at the moment, which means I can just click and drag here and it'll select different colors, like say this blue, and now it's blue. Go to this one, Enable Overrides. I could change this to RGB, and I can just pick whatever color I want this one to be. Now it's purple. Or I can click on index to change it to RGB. I can make it a bit more personalized. I can go through here and pick whatever color I want. I do recommend keeping them fairly bright to make sure they stand out. Orange. Or I just go through the index and just scroll through this list of different colors that are just automatically selected for you until I find one that I like. And that is a few ways you can create custom control objects for your rigs.